A mechanist was then sent to the north to procure a collection of new machinery, and after extraordinary delays and difficulties, he embarked with it at New York in February, 1837. He was shipwrecked near Cayo Hueso, and with all the machinery he could save returned to the north in the brig Argos, but on his way there he was shipwrecked again, and all the machinery lost. He went to Philadelphia to have new machines constructed, and in August re-embarked in the Delaware. Incredible as it may seem, the Delaware was wrecked off Cayo Alcatraces, and for the third time the machinery was lost, the mechanist saving himself with great difficulty. It seemed as if gods and men had conspired against the cotton spindles, yet Antunano persevered. Fresh machinery was ordered, and though by another fatality it was detained owing to the blockade of the ports by the French squadron, 7,000 spindles were landed and speedily put in operation. Others have followed the example of Señor Antunano, who has given a decided impulse to industry in Puebla, besides a most extraordinary example of perseverance, and a determined struggle against what men call bad luck, which persons of a feebler character sink under, while stronger minds oppose till they conquer it. It was in his carriage we went, and he accompanied us all over the building. It is beautifully situated, and at a distance has more the air of a summer palace than of a cotton factory. Its order and airiness are delightful, and in the middle of the court, in front of the building, is a large fountain of the purest water. A Scotchman who has been there for some time says he has never seen anything to compare with it, and he worked 6 years in the United States. Antunano is unfortunately very deaf, and obliged to use an ear trumpet. He seems an excellent man, and I trust he may be ultimately successful. We came out covered with cotton, as if we had just been unpacked, and were next taken to visit a very handsome new prison which they are building in the city, but whether it will ever be finished or not is more doubtful. We also visited the Foundling Hospital, a large building where there are more children than funds. They were all clean and respectable looking, but very poor. Antunano presented them with $200, as a memorial, he said, of our visit. C n then went to the convent of El Carmen to see the paintings of the life of the Virgin, supposed to be original works of Murillo, particularly the Ascension and Circumcision, but which are ill arranged, and have suffered greatly from neglect, many of them being torn. Indeed, in some of them are large holes made by the boys, who insisted that the Jewish priest was the devil. There is a Descent from the Cross, which is reckoned a fine painting, and it is a pity that these works should be shut up in this old convent, where there are about half a dozen old monks, and where they serve no purpose, useful or ornamental. Were they removed to the Mexican Museum and arranged with care, they would at least serve as models for those young artists who have not the means of forming their taste by European travel. Zendejas as a painter and Coro as a sculptor, both natives of Puebla, are celebrated in their respective arts, but we have not yet seen any of their works. C n also visited the bishop and saw his paintings and library, which we hope to do to-morrow, and from thence went to the college, the rector of which was attaché in Spain to the minister Santa María. We dined again in the house of Señor H o. The manner in which his floors are painted is pretty and curious. It is in imitation of carpets, and is very rich in appearance and very cool in reality. A great many of the floors here are painted in this way, either upon canvas with oil colours, or upon a cement extended upon the bricks of which the floor is made, and prepared with glue, lime or clay, and soap. Señor H o has 4 young and pretty sisters, all nuns in different convents. As there are no other schools but these convents, the young girls who are sent there become attached to the nuns, and prefer remaining with them forever to returning home. After dinner, accompanied by Don N. Ramos Arispe, whom C n formerly knew intimately in Madrid, and by various other ecclesiastics, we visited the Boast of Puebla, the cathedral, which we did not do when we passed through the city on our arrival last year. To my mind, I have never seen anything more noble and magnificent. It is said that the rapid progress of the building was owing to the assistance, of two angels, who nightly descended and added to its height, so that each morning the astonished workmen found their labour incredibly advanced. The name given to the city, Puebla de los Angeles, is said to be owing to this tradition. It is not so large as the cathedral of Mexico, but it is more elegant, simpler, and in better taste. 16 columns of exquisite marble, adorned with silver and gold, form the tabernacle, in Mexico called El Cipres. This native marble, called Puebla marble, is brought from the quarries of Totamehuacan and Tecali, at 2 and 7 leagues from the city. The floor of the cathedral is of marble, the great screens and high backed chairs of richly carved cedar. Everything was opened to show us the tombs where the bishops are buried, the vault where a martyr lies, supposed to have been miraculously preserved for centuries, the gift of a pope to a bishop of Puebla. The figure appears to be of wax, enclosing the skeleton of the martyr, and has the most angelic countenance I ever beheld. It is loaded with false emeralds and diamonds. We were also shown the jewels which they keep buried in case of a revolution. The custodia, the gold stand in which they carry the host, is entirely encrusted with large diamonds, pearls, emeralds, amethysts, topazes, and rubies. The chalices are equally rich. There are 4 sets of jewels for the bishop. One of his crosses is of emeralds and diamonds, another of topazes and diamonds, with great rings of the same, belonging to each. In the evening we went with the M family, who have been very civil to us, to the theatre, where we saw a comedy better acted and more amusing than the tragedy which they murdered 2 nights before. We went early the next morning to the bishop's palace, to see his fine library and collection of paintings, where there were a few modern originals, and many fine copies of the old masters. We then went with the Señora H o to return the visits of the ladies who had called on us. The young ladies invariably complain that they have neither music, nor drawing, nor dancing masters. There is evidently a great deal of musical taste among them, and, as in every part of Mexico, town or country, there is a piano, tal cual, in every house; but most of those who play are self-taught, and naturally abandon it very soon, for want of instruction or encouragement. We are now going to dine out, and in the evening we go to a concert in the theatre, given by the Señora Cesari and Mr. Wallace. As we must rise at 3, to set off by the diligence, I shall write no more from this place. Our next letters will be from Mexico. End of letter the 35th.